Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Noor underscore consulting. I'm going to share with you today important concepts in management consulting. My name is Nurinder Singh. I'm an ex-management research consultant, MBA pass out from Symbiosis Institute of International Business, and my email address is nurinder.singh1@gmail.com, wherein you can send your queries or any recommendations that you may have. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to study today is called Pareto's principle. This principle says that it's a concept that says that 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. So it means that there is an unequal relationship between inputs and outputs, and this was coined by Wilfredo Pareto. Now, the second thing, for example, I want to tell you that 80% of the people coming to the mall are basically window shopping, and revenue is and sales come from the rest 20%. Or, for example, there are 100 SKUs that a company has. SKU means a stock keeping unit. Then you will find that 80% of the revenue will come from the most important 20 stock keeping units or 20 items. The third thing is how to solve a problem. You have to focus on reducing the cost of 10 line items. For example, you are given 10 line items and you have to focus on reducing the cost. You will then focus on 2 to 3 line items that is contributing to 80% of the cost. And by focusing on these 2 to 3 line items, you can narrow down on the problem and you can find the solution. So this shows tip of the iceberg. As we all know that only 10% of the ice is above water in iceberg. So over here it shows that 20% above are the causes and 80% are the effects. This is basically the generalization shown with the help of the picture. As you can see, to solve any problem, you have to focus on only 20% of the causes. This helps in case studies. For example, the content is very vast, but you want to solve the case study. Then you focus on the most relevant things. For example, this is an observation and not a law and doesn't apply to all the situations. So, this is not a hard and fast rule. And other names for Pareto's principle are 80-20 rule or the law of vital few or the principle of factor sparsity. Now let us solve a case problem on Pareto's principle. On the left hand side, you see the table. There are 10 cost items. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rank means that is how much they are contributing to the cost. And percentage of the cost item means that first one is 10% of the total number of line items, including second one, cumulative is 20% of the total number of line items, and three, including the third line items, this means 30% of the total number of line items. Okay. Now cost is given to you in the next column. So running cost means basically cumulative cost. We add row number one and row number two. We get the running cost, that is the cumulative cost in the row two, which is 385,000 US dollars. And the percentage of the total cost, that is cumulative cost, is given. So the first line item is contributing 40% of the total cost. The first and the second line items are contributing to 75% of the total cost. And the third line item, including the third line item, they are contributing 85% of the total cost. On the right hand side, you can see the graph. The first line item is contributing 40%, which is shown by the bar. And the second line item is contributing to 35% of the total cost, which is again shown by the red bar. And the third line item is contributing to 10%, and so on. The cumulative is shown by the green graph. So basically, you can see that the first and the second line items together contribute 75%, which is the cumulative cost for first and second line item put together. And the first three line items are contributing 85% of the total cost, which is given by the third point on the green curve. And then the curve began to flattens. So you can see that if we first of all just arrange the cost in the descending order by the rank and then put the cumulative, we are able to see that the first three line items are contributing 85% of the total cost. That means if you can solve this case problem for the first three line items, then you can significantly reduce the cost of the entire operations. So you don't have to focus on all the 10 line items, but only the first two or the first three. That is how you will solve the problem. Okay, let's come to Minto's pyramid. Now, what is basically Minto's pyramid? Minto's pyramid says that always start with your conclusion first and then give the supporting reasoning and evidence. That means, usually what we do is we start with the evidences, the reasons, all these things, and then in the end of the PPT, we give the conclusion. That is the scientific method taught to us engineers and MBAs. But Minto's pyramid says that you should start the reverse way. That is the top-down approach. The second point says the top-down approach is counterintuitive because we have been trained to go the reverse way, but it is important for executives with less time at hand. So if you're giving presentation to the CEO and giving all the evidences, the reasons, all these things, making a 20 or 30 slide presentation, he will get bored and he will start getting frustrated. But if you start with your result first and then you can say, we are saying this because this, then because of this, then he will be more interested and he can connect all the dots. So when an executive asks you a question, what should we do? You should first of all always start with the answer, we should do X, and then you should give the supporting reasoning. Examples of Minto pyramid. So example of Minto pyramid, how do we double our profits? That is a question by Food Magazine. The statement one says, well, our current growth is anemic. Anemic means very less, and we have identified the most attractive food related market. And we are uniquely positioned to enter that market. So, as to double our profits, we should enter the health food market. Now, statement 2 using the Minto pyramid will be as this: to double profits, we should enter the health food market. Our current growth is anemic. It's the most attractive food related market, and we are uniquely positioned to enter it. So, first of all, the conclusion that we should enter the food health market to double our profit, and then all the reasons and everything. This is an example of Minto pyramid statement. So here you can see Minto's pyramid principle encapsulation. How do we double our profit? Number one, enter the food market. Three reasons are given to enter the food market. Current growth is anemic. Health is the most attractive food market. And third is we are uniquely positioned to enter this market. Uh, Under the current growth is anemic, we are saying average 3-year growth is only 4% year on year and no obvious path to growth is there. And health is the most attractive food market. We are saying RPMs are double our current market. Basically, the parameters that are shown are current our double our current market, and the health market is growing at 25% year on year. Okay. Now we are uniquely positioned to enter this market means 30% of our articles can be easily repositioned. Okay. So basically they already have all the articles and everything and they can be repositioned or rebranded to enter into the food health market. Okay, so this is an example of how you should present everything using Minto pyramid. Start with the top, then the chain to the bottom, bottom evidences, and so on. Now, what is MECE? Now, MECE is a very important principle used in consulting. This method is used in consulting as a way of organizing information. Okay, so it is very important to organize information. How we use that is with MECE method. It stands for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. Mutually exclusive means that every part should be separate from each other. There should be no overlap. So, for example, when I say a class is made of boys and girls, so boys are separate, girls are separate. There is no person who is both a boy and a girl. So that is represent mutually exclusive. And I say that class is composed of 44 students and 23 boys and 21 girls. Okay. So this represents mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. Collectively exhaustive means that together they represents the entire bunch. There is no person that is left out. So I'm not saying there are the classes composed of 45 students, uh, 23 girls, 23 boys and 21 girls, and the rest you have to find out what is the last one person. So this is not the correct MECE method. So I should have the two parties completely getting together and representing the whole. That is collectively exhaustive. The Breese principle suggests that to understand and fix any large problem, you need to understand your options by sorting them into categories that are mutually exclusive. That means item can fit only into one category at a time. For example, boys and girls, either there will be a boy or there will be a girl. And collectively exhaustive. All items can fit into one of the categories and together they represent the whole. So put in plain English, a MECE set is the one that has no overlaps and no gaps. And that might also be see it as called as collectively exhaustive rather than collective, completely exhaustive rather than collectively. Okay, so in the picture you can see that there is a puzzle pieces, four puzzle pieces together, and they represent the whole. There is no overlap in any of the pieces. No individual can appear in more than one category, and all category combined together includes all the individuals. Okay, so this is MECE method. Let's go forward. How to use MECE? Okay, so first of all, what we have to do is simplify a long list of data information into smaller set of ideas. You have a long list of data. Break them into smaller parts so that there is no overlaps. Breaking down a problem statement into MECE set of hypotheses. Hypothesis means you start with the assumption to your problem. For example, a person comes to you and he says that changing the menu on the for the restaurant can benefit the restaurant and attract more customers. So your null hypothesis is that changing the menu will attract more customers, and your alternate hypothesis will changing the menu will not attract more customers, okay, or will have no effect on the number of customers. So these two statements are completely separate and there is no overlap, okay. So problem statement into MECE set of hypotheses. Breaking down a list of information into groups. So group 1, group 2, group 3 and so on. Group 1 girls, group 2 boys. List of information into groups. Simplifying an article with many different sections into smaller number of high level themes, or using the pyramid principle to structure an argument. So we have seen Minto pyramid structure. So you can structure an argument using this method using MECE, and sorting a long PowerPoint presentation into clear and distinct sections, and the breaking down a project into separate work streams which are not overlapping, and creating a menu of service offering for your consulting or service business. So number A service offering, number 2 service offering, number 3. So on the picture above, you can see that they two are mutually exclusive, But when I say if I make a box around it and I say the third region is the white color region is C and blue color region is A and black color region is B, then they represent collectively exhausted A, B, and C. But right now, A, B are not collectively exhausted because there is a white space which is unaccounted for. Okay, and the second picture represents to you not mutually exclusive because the overlap part where the intersection part of both the sets represent the place where the one item is both present in both blue and black area. MECE in case solving, for example, let's try to understand how MECE is used in case solving. Make sure you consider all the options, the big ones and the small ones. Create a bucket list for your mind for categories to help and think structurally. And visualization often helps. Make a Venn diagram, valuable chains and distribution system, etc. So value chain is like a value is added to make B, B value is added to make C. So there is no overlap between the value chains or the distribution system. So the case is Ratan. Ratan Inc. is a bicycle manufacturing company, and they want the size of the Indian market. How many people in India use bicycles? So how will you approach this problems? Like how many people in India use a bicycle? Okay, so first of all, what we'll do is we'll categorize the entire population of India. So 7 billion people are in the world, and one out of five people is Indian. So Indian population is roughly about 140, 150 billion, and we will divide that into age groups 1 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, so that there is no overlap. Okay, or to make it better to reduce the overlap, we can do like this: 1 to 19, 20 to 39, 40 to 59, and 60 to 80. Okay, so now you have to understand how many people fall into each segment. Make sure your segments have no overlap and they are mutually exclusive. So we have divided that the gaps, we have removed the overlap. There was earlier overlap in 20 and 40 and 60, but we have removed the overlap by making it 1 to 19, 20 to 39, and so on. Now they are mutually exclusive. Make sure that by the end you are not skipping any segment. They are collectively exhaustive. So for example, I just say that there are people in India who are above 80 years also. So that have not been accounted for in this problem. So what we'll do is we will account that people also. So last particular segment we'll include as above 80. Okay. So how many people in above 80 will be using a bicycle? That is very minimal. Okay. So then you will roughly estimate how many people fall population wise fall into each category, and how many people as per the income wise will drive a bicycle or not drive a bicycle, and so on. Okay. Let's start with hypothesis testing. What is hypothesis testing? So hypothesis testing is used to assess the plausibility of a hypothesis by using sample data. For example, I have a sample data that there are five people who came to the restaurant and they got disappointed by menu. So the owner of the restaurant comes to me and he says my menu is bad. I believe changing the menu will have a good effect on the overall sales and the number of customers coming to the restaurant. So, okay, the test provides evidence concerning the plausibility of the hypothesis given the data. So now we will run a test. We will run a test on 1,000 customers coming to the restaurant. So we'll take five branches of that restaurant. In two branches, we'll introduce a new menu, and in another three branches, we will not introduce a new menu. And by the end, like our in five branches, when 1,000 people have come, we will start analyzing the data. And statistical analysis test a hypothesis by measuring and examining a random sample of population being analyzed. So these are completely random people, 1,000 people coming to the restaurant, I have not told any of these person to be my relatives and give favorability to menu being changed or not changed and all. These are completely random people. So the sample is completely random. So, okay, so for the four step for hypothesis testing are the first step is for the analyst to state the two hypotheses so that only one can be right. So, in this case, my first hypothesis will be that changing the menu will have good effect on the overall sales or will increase the overall sales and will attract more customers. And the alternate hypothesis will be that changing the menu will have no effect on the number of sales or attracting the number of customers to the restaurant. So these will be two hypotheses and only one will be correct. The next step is to formulate an analysis plan which outlines how the data will be evaluated. So our formulation of the analysis plan will be that out of five branches, I have taken two branches where I've introduced the new menu and the three branches where I have not introduced the new menu. The third step is to carry out the plan and physically analyze the sample data. So for let's say 1 week, I run with the plan and I record the information for both all the five branches. And the final step is to analyze the result and either reject the null hypothesis or state that the null hypothesis is plausible given the data. So out of 1,000 people, in the remaining three branches where I introduced the new menu, there are more customers and the sales are very, very high. For example, the sales are 200% of the remaining two branches. Then I can say that the null hypothesis is true. That means changing the menu will have a positive effect on the sales as well as attracting more number of customers. Okay, so hypothesis testing. You ask any consultant what is the one thing that you should learn to solve the problem. They are going to say the same thing over and over again. That is, you have to learn to create an issue tree. Now, what is an issue tree? So, first of all, what is the problem we are analyzing? The problem is, does changing the menu have any effect on increasing the sales of the restaurant? Does it attract more customers? So issue one, issue two. So what can be issue one? That customers like a better menu design, or let's say the customer like less number of dishes to or a simple menu. And so what might be contributing to this? What might be contributing to this is the brain capacity of the customers or the simplicity which they want to read. What might be contributing to this? So you have to divide the whole problem into set of sub issues, okay, by always asking yourself this question: what might be contributing to this, what might be contributing to this, and in the end you will have data. Okay, how might we analyze this? That is the end question you have to ask. Okay, case solving uses hypothesis testing. First of all, make your list of reason as messy as possible. So when I say the list of reasons should be as messy as possible means no two set of reasons should have overlap with each other and all the reasons should together form a complete whole, that there should be no reason being left out. Don't be biased by a predetermined hypothesis. For example, the person who comes to me for the change in his menu design or the owner of the restaurant is a very close friend of mine and I really trust him. So I should not be very biased in my judgment and I should say that yes, yes, you should change the menu, because then I will have a problem with my bias that I will always start looking towards that set of data which confirms my bias or which will make me think that yes, changing the menu of course has a positive effect on the increasing the number of sales. So that should not be the case. Use issue tree that we have already seen in solving your hypothesis. Okay, thank you so much for coming together with us, and I hope you learned something new with this presentation on management consulting. Again, my name is Nurinder Singh. I'm a pass out from Simba's Institute of International Business and ex market research consultant. Our channel name is Noor underscore consulting. Kindly subscribe to our channel for regular updates, and whenever we are coming up with a new video, you will get a notification of this and you can study alongside us. Our handle is at the rate of Noor underscore consulting. My email address is nurinder.singh1 at the rate of gmail.com. Any question or any recommendation you have, anything you want to ask, please write me an email. I will definitely, respond back. If you can provide your number, it will be great so that I can call you and contact you, and I can also help you to get into this field. Thank you so much again for coming together with us and wish you have a great day ahead. Thank you so much. Bye bye.